Hey everybody, welcome to The Finer Things, the show where we examine games for their artistic value. As always, my name is Quinn Foose. In honor of spooky season and of course Halloween, today's episode will be a ghosty gaming special episode. We're going to discuss the most recent installment in a long-running series of survival horror games that has been going on since the late 1990s. This time around, the game in the spotlight is Resident Evil 7. The first Resident Evil game was released by developer Capcom in 1996 and was developed only for the original PlayStation. The game was received very well both critically and commercially and laid the way for the numerous mainline and spin-off entries that were to come. In fact, some have labeled the original title as the game that defined the survival horror genre. 21 years later, Capcom released Resident Evil 7 and it too was received well by consumers and critics. Despite some creative choices to differ from the style of earlier titles, I'm looking at you first-person perspective, the game was still considered by many to be a return to form and was seen on many top games of the year lists in 2017. Now, as with all good ghoulish tales, the story is what matters most, so that is where we will begin today. Of course, I will avoid spoilers for those of you who haven't played the game yet. I have not personally played any of the Resident Evil games that came out prior to this one, so coming into this series where it is today may give me a unique perspective that differs from those who have played many or even all of the games in the series. For me, the story was great to play through. The mystery of the Baker family and their dilapidated and honestly disgusting old estate was a joy to unpack. Every new area of the house and property that I explored led me further down the rabbit hole without ever making me feel bored of what was going on. This is the sign of a developer that has put years of effort into a franchise and through trial and error have worked to perfect it. Going into the game, I was definitely not expecting the ending that we got with Resident Evil 7, and if the weird world that it built up is anything like that shown off in the titles that came before, then I may just have to go back and give those games a playthrough as well. If you're a lover of the Resident Evil franchise but haven't kept up with the newer releases, then make sure to check out the Resident Evil 2 remake that was released early this year, and as Wesley said earlier, watch out for the Resident Evil 5 and 6 ports that will be dropping on the Nintendo Switch on October 29th. Make sure not to miss out on Resident Evil 7 this spooky season, and thank you for joining me once again on The Finer Things. Make sure not to miss the next episode when we'll be examining a new game. Thanks for watching.